UNICEF aid trucks were loaded in Egypt's North Sinai city of Arish, preparing to enter Gaza via the Rafah crossing. Dozens of trucks carrying tons of aid have moved toward the Kerem Abu Salem crossing to deliver essential supplies. Gaza's 2.2 million residents continue to face severe food shortages after months of supply restrictions. Meanwhile, Gaza's health ministry has reported that since the start of Israel's military campaign in October 2023, at least 59,821 Palestinians have been killed and 144,851 injured. In the past 24 hours alone, Israeli strikes killed 88 people and wounded 374 across the enclave. Meanwhile, the ongoing starvation crisis has claimed 6 more lives in hospitals, raising the death toll from malnutrition to 133, including 87 children. World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain has called for immediate action to scale up food aid to Gaza, welcoming Israel's temporary pauses in fighting as a chance to deliver urgent assistance. Responding to a World Food Programme statement calling for ceasefire, McCain said the agency has teams and enough supplies to reach those in need across the enclave. Médecins Sans Frontières, or Doctors Without Borders, has highlighted the critical hunger crisis in Gaza after 5 months of starvation. Their emergency operations coordinator, Amanda Bazzarole, emphasized the urgent need for a reliable and sustained supply chain to support the 2 million residents, many of whom face life-threatening malnutrition and long-term health consequences, especially children. Bazzarole called for organized food distribution to ensure every community, particularly the most vulnerable, receives aid. She also stressed the importance of therapeutic food to help malnourished patients recover and warned that the population's digestive systems are weakened, requiring careful medical supervision during refeeding. Faris Hassouna, a father of 6 in northern Gaza, rejoiced as he returned home carrying a rare bag of flour amid the ongoing food shortages. Many families rise before dawn, risking long walks and uncertainty to access scarce aid entering Gaza through Israel. Hassouna said the flour's arrival brought relief to his hungry children, allowing them to rest easier. Meanwhile, Israel announced a daily 10-hour pause in military operations in parts of Gaza to facilitate aid deliveries. The Arab League has voiced full support for international legal action against Israel over alleged war crimes in Gaza and the occupied Palestinian territories. At a seminar in Cairo, Secretary General Ahmed Abou-Gheit, via a representative, condemned what he called a systematic genocide and accused the global community of silent complicity. He cited over 250,000 Palestinian casualties since October 2023 and reaffirmed the League's backing for the ICC and legal documentation efforts. He also welcomed the upcoming UN-backed two-state solution conference and reiterated support for a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. Former UNRWA spokesperson Chris Gunness has called for Gaza's land crossings to be opened 24/7, denouncing Israeli airdrops as undignified and avoidable. Gunness said Israel's tactical pauses were too little, too late, accusing the state of using starvation as a weapon of war. He demanded international justice for what he described as war crimes, citing over 100 starvation-related deaths in Gaza. Gunness also criticized Israel for obstructing aid, stating that convoys are often delayed, rerouted, or targeted, and that distribution centers have been destroyed. Israeli occupation forces have barred Sheikh Mohammed Hussein, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem and Palestine, from entering Al-Aqsa Mosque for 1 week, with the order subject to renewal. The Mufti was summoned for interrogation in Jerusalem following his Friday sermon, in which he denounced Israel's starvation policy in Gaza. Hussein said he received a formal expulsion order, which he refused to sign. The Palestinian Ministry of Education has released the results of the 24 to 25 Tawjihi exams, with nearly 48,000 students sitting for the tests, mostly in the West Bank and among Gaza students living abroad. For the second year, students in Gaza were unable to participate due to ongoing Israeli attacks. The ministry pledged to hold exams for them once conditions allow. Since October 2023, the ministry reported that over 16,600 students have been killed and more than 26,200 injured due to the war, most of them in Gaza. Additionally, 914 educators have been killed and 196 detained. Pope Leo has issued a solemn appeal on Sunday, expressing deep concern over the deteriorating humanitarian crisis in Gaza, where civilians are facing severe hunger and ongoing violence. Speaking during his weekly Angelus prayer, the pontiff urged for an immediate ceasefire, the release of detainees, and full respect for international humanitarian law. Pope Leo also turned attention to other global flashpoints, praying for those affected by clashes on the Thailand-Cambodian border and the victims of violence in southern Syria. Israeli occupation forces have brought the Freedom Flotilla's Handala vessel to Ashdod port, a day after seizing it in international waters and detaining its 21-member crew. The Legal Rights Center, Adala, representing the detainees, said its lawyers were in Ashdod seeking access but were denied by Israeli authorities. Adala called the interception and detention unlawful and a violation of international law, stressing the activists were on a peaceful mission to challenge Israel's blockade of Gaza. Former Swedish Prime Minister Carl Bildt, now co-chair of the European Council on Foreign Relations, has criticised Israel's Gaza policy, saying the fundamental approach since breaking the ceasefire in March is the real problem. Bildt emphasised that Israel's recent policy changes are merely reactions to global outrage, while the core issues remain unresolved. His comments followed a social media post by Phil Gordon, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris, who called Israel's March actions catastrophic for Gaza and Israel alike. Now moving on to Sudan, where the Sudanese Foreign Ministry has condemned the Rapid Support Forces for announcing a fake government and distributing positions, calling it a disregard for the suffering of the Sudanese people. The ministry said the move shows the militia's defeat by Sudan's armed forces and accused civilian groups of colluding with the support forces. Sudan also condemned Kenya for allowing support forces meetings in Nairobi to form the illegitimate government, calling it a violation of Sudan's sovereignty. The ministry urged the international community not to recognize or engage with the support forces' self-declared government. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz has issued a direct warning to Iran's Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei just weeks after a ceasefire ended the 12-day Iran-Israel war. Speaking from Ramon Air Base, Defense Minister Israel Katz warned that if Iranian threats against Israel persist, Israeli forces could once again strike Tehran, this time targeting the Supreme Leader himself directly. His remarks highlighted escalating tensions despite the recent ceasefire. US President Donald Trump and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen have met in Scotland to advance talks on a major transatlantic trade deal. Both sides cited fairness as a key issue, with Trump estimating a 50-50 chance of success and setting an August 1st deadline for most sectors, excluding steel, aluminium and pharmaceuticals. Von der Leyen called the talks a potential breakthrough, saying it could be the biggest trade deal ever for either party. Trump also commented on Thailand and Cambodia, saying both countries are eager to reach a deal. Wildfires continue to burn near Turkey's fourth largest city, Bursa, prompting the evacuation of almost 2,000 people. The fires, intensified by a fierce Mediterranean heat wave, have devastated large areas and killed 10 firefighters across central Turkey. Authorities warn that shifting climate patterns are worsening the scale and impact of such blazes. And from Turkey to Greece, where firefighters have battled a fierce wildfire near Crayoneri, 25 kilometers north of Athens, as Greece sweltered under soaring temperatures reaching 44 Celsius. The fire, which began in Drosopigi village, destroyed several homes and forced residents of Crayoneri to evacuate towards Athens. 5 people have been hospitalized so far. Aerial firefighting efforts, including helicopters dropping water near factories storing flammable materials. A total of 145 firefighters, supported by 44 vehicles, 7 helicopters and 10 aircraft, worked to contain the blaze. In the past 24 hours, 52 wildfires broke out across Greece, with 44 controlled early. Major fires also flared in Kythera, Messina and Evia.